Uh, Blessed love, my name is Michel Kanji, and would like to make this video in these difficult times, to say the least. We're talking September 2020. We're living amidst what they call a corona crisis. I've made some remark in the past. I live in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, by the way. This is from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. And I made some remarks in the past about, in Dutch, often, sometimes in English or Spanish, about what I think about the corona policy. I was skeptical from the beginning when it started March, the whole policies that were developed by governments worldwide. But I became even more skeptical over time, and in the end, I denounced it. Now I denounce it. Now I protest against this corona policy due to gained insight over the year, over the month actually. Um, why am I against this corona policy? It's easy to say. It's a disease, new virus that COVID-19 that appeared on the stage and that was threatening, according to the World Health Organization and other supranational organization and governments. It was threatening and a pandemic, very deadly, they said, could be very deadly and very infectious. So a new virus that spreads fear already. In the beginning, I thought, yeah, maybe there is a new virus. Could be man-made even, because they talk about a lab, but that are part of a natural or man-made. We don't know, but let's say that it's a virus. It's there. A virus is a parasite that transmits through contact. So like the grippe, like the influenza, for instance, or infectious diseases. But maybe this was a severe one. I went for a short while, not too long. I think in February, early March still, I thought, yeah, maybe there is something terrible, a terrible infectious disease spreading pandemic. Is there really a dangerous pandemic with a high mortality rate? Over time, I studied virology. Not studied like other people who studied, but I studied virological sources, listened to other people who studied virology, who were trustworthy. When you know something about you learn more and more who is trustworthy in a specific scientific field. In the biochemistry and in the medical sciences, there is a lot of corruption due to the influence of the pharmaceutical industry. You must not underestimate that. But there's also independent research, and you can put things together and make use of all the information that there is out there, also on the internet. And in academic sources, and I came to the conclusion that it's not that severe. The most reliable experts, scientists, compare it with a flu. Some say a medium degree, some say a severe flu, relatively severe. It has some extra vicious aspects. They say the coronavirus, in the sense that it goes to the lungs and it's a bit worse, but it's the mortality rate and the morbidity, as they call it, the effects, and the mortality rate is similar to, some say, medium flu or a severe flu over the years. So it's not extraordinary in that sense. It's still terrible for people or annoying, or whatever you want to call, for people who have it, or terrible for people who get it, but it's not worse than the flu or other disease that's been here for years and decades, and that never initiated this kind of policy worldwide. It's very strange, and that made me doubt it. Then what is behind it? Some people talk about 5G. You have all kinds of conspiracy theories, they call it. I don't know if they are really only conspiracy theories. It could be just speculations based on some facts. Some facts, it's some proof that is there, but it's not coherent yet, because most people who do the problem with people who criticize conspiracy theories. I'm not a conspiracy theorist follower per se. I just study academic sources. I used to work in the academic field for a period, social sciences and history more. But I know something about how it works, and so I'm not believe speculations and things like that. I like facts, but still, the conspiracy theories, people who have goals of power, of world power, and those exist because if you have money, you want to protect them, you want to have more money. If you have interests worldwide, global interests, as a billionaire, for instance, you want to protect that. So conspiracies exist. So it's not strange to be a have a theory about it, but it must make sense. Because if you want power over the world, you hide that. You hide your motives. You hide immoral motives. So conspiracies exist historically. Also, when you look at the rise of fascism in Europe, for instance, was some conspiracies involved to pretend like you're democratic, like Hitler did, for instance. Then, when in parliament, then destroy democracy from within. That's a conspiracy. There's always been conspiracy in the world, also in the colonial period. It's always been by the colonial powers. Always been, or at the higher places and everything in politics. There always have been conspiracies. So conspiracies exist, but I base myself on facts. And the fact that COVID-19 is not that mortal was for me crucial. Further, the policy did not take that into account, and that's what began to worry me most. The policies were very strict and were like it's actual very mortal, relatively very mortal pandemic, which it wasn't. That made me doubt there's something behind it. Maybe the hidden agenda, which those conspiracy theories talk about, could be the New World Order. Some could strive. I have some proof of it, some facts that show that they want a new order, but there's some proof, even some evidence. But I have to combine all those things to really. But I'm not sure. I would not rule it out. I think it's quite probable that there is a plan by a high elite, a high rich elite in this world, for a new world order, to organize a new world order in the world which benefits them and their control and their in the world. Could be, but I base myself on facts that it's not that mortal, COVID-19. And the policy continues with very strict measures which serve other goals than controlling a supposed pandemic. And those other goals, I don't know for sure, so I'm not, there's some sensible ideas, some plausible ideas even, with some proof and some evidence, like the pharmaceutical hold on science, which is there, which is proven. Bill and Melinda Gates are the main funder of the World Health Organization, which is immoral in itself, because Trump, one of the few good things he did maybe was he withdraw the money from the World Health Organization, which, well, as a disadvantage, as a negative effect of this was that Bill and Melinda Gates, a private party, no one elected him, Bill Gates, became the dominant funder, and that corrupts the cause, corrupts the objectivity, the impartiality of the World Health Organization. It surprised me that not many more people see that or seem to understand that. That's a very dubious aspect that make me and many people with me, I think, mistrust this policy more and more. Then one of the aspects that convinced me most, maybe, or that irritate me most, is the behavior and the physical integrity of people. They started to attack almost with this policy, with this corona policy, in the name of controlling a pandemic or limiting the number of infections. They told people, healthy people, all people, not only people who might be affected or risk groups, no, all people, free citizens in democratic countries, They forced them to stay at home, to close private businesses, which are bars or pubs. So you have to, they influence the lifestyle and the behavior even. They're talking about 1.5 meter, how you stand. That close they went, the government. They want to make robots of you, almost. It's not that exaggerated. And it's 1.5 meter, the mask you have to wear. And if not, you get a fine, and many poor people don't even have money for a fine. It's all fascist-like. It's a fascist regime also. And yeah, it could be defended if there's a really emergency situation. Everyone talks about an emergency situation, but it's not judging it. The figures and the numbers of people who died actually, and the effects it has overall on the health, relative to flu and other similar diseases. And there are even worse diseases of which people die more, like cigarettes, for instance. But also infectious diseases, other infectious diseases than COVID are comparable in mortality, and no lockdown then in that period. Remember that. That is all very dubious, morally dubious, immoral. I think it's immoral. Marcus Garvey, an important figure also for the Rastafari movement, which I associate a little bit, said all immoral laws should be disobeyed. Yeah, ideally, the people should rise up because something is definitely wrong, in my opinion. It's a fascist-like regime that is internationally spread even, which is very, which might have serve a bigger agenda of people high of rich elite. A new world order might be, but I know that it's wrong and it's not appropriate. That's what I know, and I'm against it. And it's against the human rights and freedoms of the people. That's quite obvious, because people, if it's really a disease, it was that mortal, it was defensible. Now it's indefensible. It cannot be explained why people cannot go out, cannot gather, cannot party, cannot dance, cannot make music, cannot have concerts, cannot go to sport events, all limited like robots, like slaves almost, or like a kind of house arrest, which is not legitimized by COVID-19. It's not that serious, it's not that mortal, and it's not that vicious. And I keep on saying that, and that's why I don't support this policy anymore. It's not that I'm not considerate with all people who get it. Of course, I hope they're protected. That should have been the policy in the first place, I think, to protect the weak in the first place, and maybe some kind of lockdown, but the humanitarian lockdown, compassionate lockdown, and then protecting the weak from, if they have other diseases, they're even more vulnerable with their immune system. But most people have healthy, younger people have good immune systems that normally fight off viruses like they always have done. And we don't want to be part of some fascist or some rich elite agenda, and that's what it shows to me. I'm a musician, so people say, because you cannot perform anymore. No, I did not make any money with my music. I tried to, like many musicians. I even studied percussion, and I performed even. I was in a band and got a little money of it, but not enough to get by. I have to look for a job like everyone else. I'm just a citizen of, in this case, the Netherlands, Amsterdam. In Amsterdam I live, citizen of the Netherlands, and I'm just worried about the situation. I prefer a free democratic society where people are free to make their choices, are not talked to like children, but are talked to as equal. And it's also part of this policy. You have to stay home. You cannot go out. Oh, you ruined it by being in a party, and now we're gonna close the bar. It's like house arrest, like talking to children. That's what not I like. This Corona policy is like fascism. The route is fascism. It goes toward fascism anyway. There's still some freedoms and democracy left, even some free press, but even that with censorship in this day and age, they come with censorship. Even increases the similarities with fascism, more than fascism than communism, because it's more cynical. This is more about behavior and things like that, and living a lie. There's many similarities with fascism, this Corona policy. That's why I'm against it, and no longer going to support it.